Today I'm at the University of Chicago handing out samples of delicious dog meat. Okay, it's actually my favorite vegan jerky. We're going to see if students will happily chomp on pug bacon, or if they'll be speciesists and say it's wrong to eat dogs but okay to eat pigs and cows, even though there's no moral difference. Fresh local dog meat, humane certified. Hello, do you want to try some dog meat?
No, I was just wondering, what are you guys doing? Because I saw yesterday you were doing the breast milk thing.
Yes,
So is this, I don't know, a social experiment or what's...
No. So we're an ethical meat and dairy company. So the breast milk yesterday was from consensual women. So that's why that was ethical. This is ethical because the dogs are happy on the farm. They have great lives. They get kisses and cuddles. We're against industrial animal agriculture because the animals are, tortured every day. So we wanted to provide an ethical meat alternative for people who love the flavor of dead animals but aren't willing to compromise giving them up. So do you want to try some dog meat? Do you want to try bulldog bacon or retriever ribs?
Let's do the bacon.
All right. One bulldog bacon coming up.
I mean, I don't really like jerky, but as far as jerky goes, it's nice.
Okay. So dog jerky, about the same as maybe dead cow jerky or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So I appreciate that you are morally consistent, that you're willing to eat dogs. I assume you're a meat eater?
Excuse me?
I assume you're a meat eater?
Yes, I am.
All right. And I'm curious, do you think animals should be included in our circle of moral concern?
So I don't think my personal take is I don't think animals should be on the same level as humans. I think they should be on the same level as nature. I think nature has, nature does have its rights and we should be protecting nature, but not to the same extent as humans, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think maybe if we had kind of the trolley problem?
Yeah.
So let's say we have a human here and we have an animal here.
Yeah.
We could justify killing the animal instead of the human. But let's say there's a third option, whereas where you kill no one.
Yeah.
Is it better to kill human, animal, or no one?
Well, it's better to kill no.
Sure. So you do recognize that even though you don't value animals as high as humans, you don't need to value them as high as humans in order to not kill them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you talk about nature and what happens in nature, what we do to animals has nothing to do with nature. They're artificially inseminated, selectively bred by the billions, confined, mutilated, tortured, and killed by giant machines in slaughterhouses. Do you think that's the laws of nature, or?
I mean, it's obviously not the laws of nature. I think the entire meat industry has been way too industrialized. And it's no longer about, a lot of it is not about human sustenance. It's more about, I don't know, industrializing something that was once kind of more farm life related and everything.
But let's say it was natural. Do you think we should base our morality on what happens in nature?
Well, that's a difficult question. I'm not really sure. I mean,
Yeah?
I personally, I don't have anything against eating animals from a moral perspective. I have more against it in terms of an environmental perspective because I think the meat industry is harming the environment a lot.
It definitely is. It's one of the leading causes of climate change.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm more coming from a climate change perspective here.
But you did agree that killing no one was better than killing animals. So there's some sort of moral component there, whether you maybe explicitly say it's moral or not. By virtue of agreeing that it's better to harm no one, then it would therefore be better to not harm animals, right?
Well, I don't think that...
Given the choice.
Well, if you have the choice to harm no one, it is obviously better to harm no one.
Okay, great. So do people like you and me and others surrounding us, I'm excluding obviously people who hunt for survival, do we have the choice?
It depends on where you live. You don't have the choice everywhere.
Let's say you live in Chicago or any other city in the U.S.
I think in the U.S. you do have the choice.
Okay, so you live in the U.S.?
I do, but...
So you acknowledge it's a choice for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so since it's a choice for you and you've agreed that killing no one is better than killing animals, which choice do you think is more moral?
Well, killing no one is more moral, but also, if I were to go on a strictly no-meat diet,
and I would still want to get all of the sustenance, all of my grocery bills would maybe double.
Sure. So there was a study that came out of Oxford that showed that plant-based diets on the whole are 30% cheaper than omnivore diets in Western countries where we are.
Yeah.
Sure, if you look just at Beyond Meat versus ground beef, although there is ground beef more expensive than Beyond Meat, maybe your bill would be a little higher, but the cheapest foods at the grocery store are vegan naturally. Beans, rice, potatoes, lentils, chickpeas, all of that stuff is naturally vegan. So you would, if you wanted to save money, veganism is actually an argument in favor of that.
Yeah.
So taking away cost, then what would stop you from not harming animals when you don't have to?
I mean, if there was,
So if there was a meat alternative that does kind of taste the same, feel the same,
Sure.
and is of the same price point, like I have, I don't feel the need to eat an animal.
Got
It's
it.
more like it's just, I don't know. It's part of how I was socialized. Like most of the recipes
Right.
I know are meat centric because I'm Hungarian and our
Sure.
entire diet is based on meat. So it's more
Yeah.
that
Every
that's how
culture, their
that's how I
entire diet's based
know-
on meat.
Yeah, it's like that's what I know to cook.
Totally. Do you think that when we're navigating life, I was also raised eating meat, only knowing how to cook meat.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should base our moral system on how we were raised?
Well, we shouldn't base our moral system, and I am trying to do better. I'm just
Okay.
saying I cannot switch overnight. It's more of a process of trying to phase out meat and then trying to find alternatives.
Sure. And what we're doing here is we're highlighting that, we understand that it may be a process for some people, but as long as it takes you to go vegan, animals are going to be tortured until you make that choice. And that's, unfortunately the reality of the situation. We don't want to sugarcoat anything. So that's why we're kind of highlighting this issue, because everyone has a choice when they go to grocery stores, right? You can either pay for more animal suffering or try not to contribute to animal
Yeah.
suffering. And I do want to emphasize that veganism isn't just a diet. It's a way of not viewing animals as just resources for us to use, right? Not saying you have to view animals and humans as equal, but if you say, oh, I eat meat for, pleasure, which is true for most people and was true for me as well, then what it comes down to is animals' lives versus, 15 minutes of sensory pleasure, right? So keeping in mind how trivial that is, which do you think is more important?
So now that we're talking, obviously I would say that, it's morally better to just not harm anyone. It's obviously morally better to not sacrifice that for, 15 minutes of a really good, steak at a restaurant.
but I don't know.
I'm not saying I'm not convinced. I think you're completely morally right.
Okay.
It's just it's a process. I'm not there yet
Sure.
with the process.
Totally. And the last thing I'm going to say to you, right, is let's say do you eat chickens?
Yes.
Let's say we have 10 chickens here, right? And you say, all right, instead of eating all 10, I'm only going to eat one of them. To that one chicken who has to be forced into a farm where they're bred to grow so fast they can't even support their body weight.
Yeah.
The only day they ever see sunlight is the day they get sent to a slaughterhouse where they're put into an electric shock bath, hung upside down, and a knife is pulled across their throat. To that specific chicken, doesn't matter that you say, oh, the 9 others, I'm not going to eat them.
Well, like I said, I get your points. I think you are completely morally right.
Okay, sure.
And I am trying to do better.
Well, I'm going to make it easy for you.
right.
Because I recognize that before I went vegan, I thought it was this daunting, impossible thing. I was shocked at how easy it was. And there are resources all on here. I've talked to you a lot about why to do it. This will show you how. There's speeches, there's information. You can get a free vegan mentor. And I just encourage you to try.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you want my free vegan outreach starter guide that teaches you how to talk to non-vegans, click the link in the description and I'll see you next Friday. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons.